So we have a couple of questions from the homework or the practice problems that you had going on. So first, 7.5, change of base. So a couple things you have to know your properties. You could just type this in your calculator just like this, but I'm going to rewrite this. So first, the property when it's multiplying on the outside, that becomes an exponent right up here. And also if I see subtraction, that means it's going to be dividing. So my base does not change, so log base 4. Again, that subtraction is going to be dividing whatever number is positive. So this would be like a positive 256. And this would be since this whole thing is negative, this goes on the bottom 4 to the third. So that's the same thing as log base 4 of 4. Now when you have this and you're actually solving, you want to see if this right here can simplify to be a nice number. A nice number would be a whole number or like a 0.5 or a 0.25, something like that. Not thinking with a decimal that goes on forever. So I'm going to remind you how to do this in your calculator to evaluate it. So again, this is log base 4 of 4. So we're going to do that right here. So a couple of things. Well, first, you go to math, you arrow up until you get to your log base, and enter. So log base 4, move over 4. Push enter. So this answer is 1. So my answer here would be for 1. Let's say if I had something else, just to let you know, once you type this in, you can arrow up and be like, hey, I'm going to reuse that. But you can also still go to math. Let's say if I took log base 4 of 16. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this also if you don't have that log base number. So that would be 2. If you don't have that log base, you can use this log. And we do the change of base. So we have log of 16. So it's always log of the big number if you don't have the option to rewrite it like this. Divided by log of your base. So in this case, my base here is 4. So if I plug that into my calculator, I also get 2. So either way, you can do it, but my answer for this first one would be 2. Then the 7.4 properties. Again, this is where you have to look at those notes. So if I'm adding right here, that would be multiplying. So I have log, my base here does not change. So it's still going to be base 4. And that would be 32 times 8. And if I did 32 times 8, I would get 256. Again, you want to check to see if this right here will be a nice, just getting 256, not 65. And if I plug that into my calculator, I would get 4. So my answer here for this one is 4. So again, rewriting it as one single log. If there's no number here, it's always a base 10. So if nothing shows up, it's a base 10. Just like on your calculator, the log button is a base 10. I see adding, so my property would be multiplying those two together. So if I multiply those two together, I get log of 21. If I did log of 21 in my calculator, I would get a decimal number. And I don't want decimals, I want precise answers, so that would be my answer. So still the properties of logs number 4. So if I see a number multiplied, that becomes an exponent. And if I see adding, when I write it as one single log, that becomes a multiplying. So this becomes 4 to the third times 9. You only write the log out one time. So again, if you did 4 to the third times 9, you get log of 576. Again, these numbers are not the exact same, but the process is still the same. Now this one is expanding it. So I have multiplication in between the R and the S. So now this is kind of the opposite that we have been doing. So my base here is 7, so it's log base 7 of R. Since I'm multiplying, when I expand, it becomes adding. So log base 7 of S. And that's my final answer. And the last question was this log one. So it gives us, it's asking for what's the pH value right here. So we're looking at this equation. And it's also telling us what this H plus is. So this whole thing, kind of hard to see with the color I'm using, this whole thing gets plugged into this. So I have negative or opposites of a log of H plus, and it tells us the H plus is 2.1. Again, yours could be different, but you can plug this, this exactly into your calculator. So that's the exact same thing. Make sure that this right here is a negative, not a subtraction sign. This also should be a negative, not a subtraction sign. And if you did that, my answer, if this was my problem, would be 11.67. And I believe it says round to the nearest tenth. So again, this 7 will round that 6 up to 7. So it'd be 11.7 for my question. That's all I have for you today.